So, last class we are discussing about 8086 assembler directives, isn't it? So, we can write the program using hex code, or we can write the program using assembly language instructions along with assembler directives. Okay. So, let us take a new type of writing. It is one of the way to write the assembly language program using 8086. Okay. So, these are optional, you may or may not write, but we have three models. One is small, second is medium, and third one is large. So, in the small model you will assume that code segment area will be maximum 64 kilobytes and data segment area will be of 64 kilobytes, and if you write dot stack size will be 1024 bytes. Okay. And dot data means you have to define all the different data variables or datas, whatever values you are using in your program. Suppose you want to display the string Raurkela on the screen, on the display screen, how to write the program. So, here string db stands for data bytes. I think this already I have told you, this is an assembler directive. You can use db to assign a value to a variables, but here string is assigned with the variable Raurkela. Sorry, string is a variable, but the constant is Raurkela. And remember, you have to enclose either in the single quotes or using the double quotes, and followed by a delimiter, that is dollar symbol. Okay. Then remaining area is the code area where the program is written. So, main here PROC procedure, that we have given the name, that is user defined, but main is system defined, right. So, main is the assembler directive. So, this will inform the assembler that the program begins from that place. Okay. So, wherever program begins, that will be indicated by the main, and PROC, that you can write XYZ whatever you want. You have to give the name of one name to the procedure or program. So, that is written here procedure. Okay. Dot startup you can write, which is an assembler directive. From this dot and from this reserve word startup, the assembler will understand that these two lines of code is written. Either you can write exclusively or explicitly these two instructions, or you can write dot startup. So, the meaning is that move AX comma @data. That means you have to load a system value which will work as offset, and that will be loaded into AX. Then AX will be transferred to DS. What is DS? DS stands for data segment. Already I have told you, you have to store a system bit value to data segment. Isn't it? You have to load a system bit value to DS, and again it will be multiplied with 10H, then will be added with another value to get the 20-bit address. But on behalf of you, that assembler will calculate it. Okay. Actually, this particular program will be given to assembler. Assembler will convert to the machine code. Okay. So, then move dx comma offset string. What is offset string? You will get Raurkela from this and loaded into dx. Now, whatever the value is available in dx, that will be displayed on the screen. For that, you have to generate an interrupt, and they are called software interrupts or program level interrupts. They are not hardware interrupts, because these interrupts are generated while executing the program. And to generate a corresponding interrupt for displaying on the screen, so code is 09, and that 09 must be moved to only one register, that is AH. AH is an 8-bit register. Am I clear? Similarly, there are suppose you want to print in a printer, only this value will change. In the place of 09, you have to use another value. But most frequently for displaying an item, we have to move 09. Is it clear? And interrupt 21H, this 21 interrupt, that is used for many purpose. I think there are hundreds of applications of interrupt 21, and for each application there is a corresponding code value, 8-bit value, that will be moved to AH. Or you can write also move AX 0900. It is same as writing move AH comma 09H, isn't it? Because you can also load into AX. AX means AH and AL. So 8-bit value AH will store 09 and AL will store 00. This is correct, this is also correct. And interrupt 21H is the common. Is it okay for displaying the screen, for displaying the data. But the before using these two instructions, where your data should be moved, data must be available in DX. That means here DX, AX and interrupt 21H are associated. You cannot arbitrarily store the value which is to be displayed in any of the register. You cannot store. Any value which is to be displayed on the screen, it has to move to DX. Then this 09H exclusively have to store into AH. If you store in AL also, the program will not work. That's why I told you, the syntax are also very important, and these are things you have to remember. There is no other way. Okay. And similarly, after displaying on the screen Raurkela is a string, and if you want to display, suppose Raurkela is a city, then everything you can write within the double quotes or single quote. It does not mean that only one string can be displayed. You can display a group of words, complete number of sentences, but everything must be enclosed within the double quotes or single quotes. Both are permitted. Am I clear? And it must be followed by a dollar symbol, which must be also enclosed by double quotes or single quotes. And after that, you have to exit from the program, because after displaying, for exit you can write the assembler directive dot exit, and exit is a reserved word. You cannot write dot ex. Exactly the way it is written, same thing must be written. And by seeing this program, you can identify which are assembler directives and which are machine instructions. So, and which are user defined, because there are three types of entities here. Some are the machine instructions, and some are the pseudo instructions, and some of the things are written by the programmer. For example, PROC we have written, and Raurkela is a string we have written as a constant, string constant, and a string type. But dot exit, dot startup, main, code, string, data, stack, model, small, so all these are the reserved words, and which serves as the assembler directives. As I told you, there are so many assembler directives used, but among these are the common one you have to remember. Okay. So, if you do not want to write a dot exit, then write exclusively move 4C00 to AX and interrupt 21H. See, the same interrupt is used for different purpose. What is the purpose? To exit from the program. This time we are loading 4C00 to AH. So, that means before operating interrupt 21H, we have to load a particular value into AX. So, 4C00 is for, or you can write move AH 4C. That will also serve the same purpose for from exiting the program. Similarly, I will tell several applications of interrupt 21H, and these are all coming under the software interrupts, and these interrupts you can use inside the program, and while executing this program, these interrupts will be generated, and the corresponding interrupt service routine, which is responsible for that particular service, will be executed. And where it is stored, what is the location of interrupt service routine, that we shall discuss in detail whenever we go to the interrupt section. But the interrupts are divided in two types, one is hardware interrupt, another is software interrupts, and these are all coming under the software interrupts. And hardware interrupts means they will be coming externally from different sources, from input device, from any input appliances, and it will be connected to the interrupt lines of the 8086. I think we have already discussed about the number of interrupt lines supported by 8086. Maximum there are 8 interrupts can be at a time serviced. Then we shall see how the interrupts are serviced and how the corresponding location is activated for executing the interrupt service routine. And remember, for every interrupt there is a corresponding interrupt service routine. It is just like a subroutine, but it is placed in a unique set of locations in the memory that is reserved for the system call. That is why around 1/4 of the memory space is occupied by the interrupt service routines, and this set of interrupt service routines is a part of the kernel of the operating system for protecting the various resources, right. So, anyway, as I told you, this is one model followed. Like this, there are several models for writing the assembly language program are available. And what are the models? One, we have the Microsoft Assembler developed by Microsoft Corporation, right. Second is Turbo Assembler, which is developed by Borland Corporation, that is called TAJM. Even many people also use TAJM, MAJM, etc. And the GNU assembler, that is gas assembler, and another is NAJM. NAJM means network wide assembler. And why NAJM is more popular? Because it is free of cost. There is no license fee. You can download from the net and you can install on your laptop or machine to run programs in 8086. Then second, it is well documented. What is the meaning of well documented? That the user manuals are available, the tutorials are already available. So, anytime if you want to know what should be the value for displaying a data on the screen, and for under interrupt 21H, which value should be loaded into AX, that will be given in the manual. Am I clear? Similarly, another is it can work with Linux and Windows OS. Okay. So, multi-user Windows operating systems are available, multi-user Linux operating system is also available. The meaning is that if you install this NAJM on a machine, multiple users can write the programs in 8086 assembly language program. That is the meaning of can work with Linux and Windows. But in the turbo versions, what happens? Only it can be installed in one PC, a single person can use it. But the same assembler can be used by many persons if you have NAJM assembler, or you can say that's why it is called net-wide, network assembler. You can make it available throughout the network. Depending upon the number of users, they can make use of this. Okay. So, these are called using assembler. So, that means there are two ways to write the program in 8086. One is that the microprocessor kit like 8085, we have one 8086 kit. There you can put either line assembler. If you use the line assembler, you can give this machine instructions directly, or you can give the hex codes. There are two ways again if you use the kit. And if you are not using the kit, then you can make use of this assembler. That is the second way. And there is also another option. There are many assembler simulators are available. They will simulate the thing. It will be running on the PC, but you will get an illusion. Whatever program you write, you will get the result. If you give the input, you will get the result, as if it is a assembler kit. So, simulators are also available. So, there are different ways of writing the programs in assembly language 8086. So, next, what are the other interrupt calls, which are minimum, because if you see the DOS manual, it is a full of book, a complete book around 200 to 300 pages. Okay. So, that is the book name is DOS manual. So, here all interrupts are clearly mentioned, but we will not go for because here we are not developing any practical programs for any applications. We just, our main goal is to be acquainted with the 8086 assembly language programming and running at least few programs, so that we will be able to interface various devices to the microprocessor. Then what are the different interrupt calls? Okay, see these two examples. Same interrupt 21H you are using in both the cases. One is for inputting a character from the standard input device. Let us take a keyboard. Keyboard is a standard device. Worldwide it is used. Therefore, it is a standard device. For example, I want to press a key and that key will be loaded into the system. How to input a particular value from keyboard to microprocessor. So, this AL, you know that it is an 8-bit register. The moment these two instructions are executed, so the data which is available on the keyboard will be available on the AL. Directly it will go to the, of course, it has to go via system bus. Via system bus, it will reach to the microprocessor register, that is AL. Available in AL means available in a microprocessor. Okay. So, interrupt 21H, but this time you can see in the previous example you used to move 09 for displaying, but now we are moving 01 to AH for inputting a single character. For if you want to display, if you want to input a number of characters, just write these two instructions in a loop. So, you can input a number of keys from the keyboard and place into the AL. But if you do not store AL in some other memory places or some registers, only one value will be stored. So, you have to write another instruction, because after executing these two instructions will be available with one value in AL, and that content you can move to memory location or some other register. Then it will be ready for inputting another character. So, likewise several set of consecutive characters we can read from the keyboard. Am I clear? Similarly, if you want to output or display or print a character on the standard output device, what is the code? You have to use 0 to H. This 0 to will be transferred to H. Then same interrupt 21H. That means if you execute these two instructions, the desired and where the character is available, the character must be available in the register DL, because they are the specification given by 8086. We cannot change. You have to remember. That means before displaying any data, any character on the screen, it should be made available in DL. Then you have to execute move, you have to load 02 to H for activating the interrupt 21H, then write interrupt 21H. So, then the whatever the character available in DL, that will be displayed on the screen. Okay. And if you want to display more than one character, make it a loop, so that a number of characters can be moved, and you have to check that at a time only one character should be made available in DL. You can move from a register or from memory locations, and at a time only one character will be available in DL, and after displaying you can make the another character ready. Am I clear? So, what is the advantage of this? If you are using interrupt 21H, that means without knowing the port address and the device characteristics, we are able to display character. That is the advantage. Without knowing the keyboard characteristics, port address and how the system bus is connected, we are able to input a character. That is the advantage of using the program interrupts or software interrupts. Is it okay? Authorized by hardware means also directly you can use port address for inputting a character, and you can also display using the port address. That we shall see in the interfacing experiments. Directly we shall use the port address using another chip, that is called PPI, peripheral program interface. The chip number is 8255, which is extensively used starting from 8085 till today's personal computer. This chip is common, a standard chip 8255, that is known as programmable peripheral interface, where we can program this chip in such a way that which will be the input port, which will be the output port, and which can act both as input and output port, because there are some device, IO devices are also there. For example, a disk, a CD-ROM. So, there we can read the data as well as we can write the data. So, there it can be a input, it can access an input port as well as the output port. So, the way we program this chip, in the same way the input and output devices will be configured. So, they are called that is implemented using hardware, but these are implemented using software. As I told you, what is available in hardware and which can be done by hardware, which can be done in software, that is not clearly defined. Both possibilities are there. But this is those who are novice or those who are not knowing the port address, I think directly they can take the help of interrupt for inputting a character, outputting a character, and we can display the entire strings also, a set of strings also. Okay. So, this input and output characteristics, they are also equally important. So, now let us go to some other instructions and using the assembler directives. So, we have already classified the instruction types into 5 types, and is there anything that is not coming under that 5 types, that we shall put into the special instruction category, or you can assume that this is the 6th category of instructions including the assembler directives. Is it okay? So, how to declare a variable? Because as I told you, if you go from 8085 towards the upper versions of microprocessor, the concept of high level languages were slowly introduced, and 8086 is the first microprocessor to be programmed using many high level language structures. Though we program it using 8086 assembly language, but many high level language constructs are usually available in 8086. In data structure algorithms you might have studied, there are two things, one is variable, another is constant. But how these variables are declared, that also we have seen. There are three types of variables. One is integer variable, another is real variable, another is string variable or character variable, right. So, here whenever you declare a variable, these things already you know, but again for the way it is defined in 8086 we have to cover. So, declaring a variable concept consists of these three things, that is, one is declaration of variable, there must be a syntax and semantics associated, number one. Number two, you have to define size of the variable. As I told you, 8086 microprocessor is a very deterministic system. Everything is finite, memory is finite, number of registers are finite, the capability of the microprocessor is also finite, everything is deterministic. Therefore, you have to exactly mention what should be the size of variable, right. Similarly, what should be the value of a variable, then how to write it, that is called structure of variable. It is similar to your high level language concepts, but it is written for the assembly language. So, this is the structure you have to follow. So, variable name is user defined, you can give your own variable name, and usually 4 to 5 or maximum 6-7 characters is enough in assembly language programming. And the size you have to mention here, and you have to use a directive. What is the directive? DB, DW. I will tell you what are the different directives, assembly directives pertaining to variable. We have different directives for different constructs. Variable is one of the important construct of the language. Then the value you can mention here. And what is a DUP? DUP stands for duplicate. That means if you want to have an array of 100 elements, only once you have to declare. So, automatically there will be 100 positions will be reserved from the beginning of the program to 100 positions means 100 memory locations will be reserved. And whenever you use that array in your program, those 100 locations will be useful, and no more than 100 locations will be used, because you have to make it finite. So, this is also a very important concept. Each variable has a type and assigned to a memory location address. There, if you are using a pointer in C, C++, then a pointer can serve as an address, but here you have to exclusively give a memory location address to a variable. That means every variable is a memory location address unless it is named for a register. Variables can be named either for registers, or it can be named for memory location address. Only there are two ways. So, data defined pseudo operations. Again, I had told you pseudo operations, assembler directives, macros, open subroutines refer to the same meaning. So, any term you can use interchangeably. So, DB stands for defined bytes, DW stands for defined word. You know word size of the 8086. What is the word size of 8086? 16 bits or 2 bytes, and DB means 1 byte, and DD means defined double word. That means 2 consecutive words. 2 consecutive words means 4 bytes. Am I clear? Then DQ stands for defined quad word. That means 4 consecutive words. 4 into 16, 2, that is 8 bytes. Okay. So, the moment you write a DQ assembler directive, 4 consecutive words means 4 into 2, okay, 1 word 2 bytes, so 8. So, 8 bytes will be reserved. Whether you use or not, 8 locations will be reserved for that particular variable, and variable will be in the left side you must have declared the variable. And DT stands for defined 10 bytes, 5 consecutive words means 10 bytes are reserved, and there is nothing. The last one is the maximum 10 bytes can be allocated to a variable, not more than that. That is the limitation of 8086. Perhaps in 286, 386, 486, 586, still bigger values can be assigned to a variable using the assembler directives. Then how to use these pseudo operations in the program? That we call data representation. how to represent the data on the memory or in a register or in the form of a value in an instruction. And the simplest type of data is that we know numbers, integers or real numbers, fractional numbers. And of course, 8085, as I told you, a simple microprocessor does not support any fractional value or real value, it only supports integers. So, it is simple. But now we shall see 8086 supports a varieties of numbers. Just see the difference. If I am writing .11011, if you do not write anything, that will be taken as decimal. Am I clear? And the moment you write a B here in the right side, this will be taken as a binary data. This is how you can distinguish binary data or decimal data. So, if I give this example, what type of data it is? I am not mentioning any symbol. So, therefore, it is decimal. Okay, for decimal also you can exclusively write it D. If you do not write anything, it will be taken as decimal, and if you want to explicitly write it D or to make it decimal, then you can write it D also. And remember, what is the advantage of assembler directive? If you want to write a you have to write a negative number, you have to show in 2's complement in 8086. But using the assembler directive, you can write a negative decimal number also, right. That is the advantage of using the assembler directive. This is invalid. Why? No special symbols is allowed while writing the number. Suppose you want to write 1000, people used to write 1000 like this. Just to distinguish between 1 and 3 zeros, thousands. So, therefore, they used to write comma, but this is not allowed. Even though you are writing rupees or in currency, you have to exclusively write 1, 2, 3, 4. So, this is a hex number. For hex number, you have to write H. But remember, if you do not write here H, neither it is a decimal number nor it is a hexadecimal number, it is invalid. The assembler will not take it, will give a syntax error. This is not allowed, 1B 4D. Why? Because neither it is a decimal number nor it is a hexadecimal. Unless you write H, it will not be considered as hexadecimal. And remember, in exam also you may be facing this type of questions. You have to check whether it is valid or invalid. Why this is invalid? The first one is valid, 0 F F F F H, because H is written, clearly valid. But here S is also written, but still it is invalid. Why? Always hexadecimal, if you are writing, it should begin with a digit numeral. Okay. So, it is not. So, they are the syntax rules, we cannot avoid that. Then second type of data is characters. These are the numbers. Then second is characters. So, what are the rules to write the character in 8086? Okay, so this is how we can represent the characters. So, if you want to represent any character data, as I told you, you have to enclose within either double quotes or single quote. Example, hello, HELLO, double quotes or single quotes. A double quotes, B single quotes. Am I clear? And they are all the characters, because even though assembler directives uses English letters, while storing them in a computer, we need a format. How many formats are there? Two formats. One is ASCII, another is ABCDIC. 90% of the world follows ASCII. ASCII stands for American Code for Information Interchange, and it is a 7-bit code. 7-bit code, to make it a byte, always you can observe the leftmost bit in the ASCII code is 0 to make it byte. Therefore, 128 characters can be represented using ASCII, and in the keyboard hardly we have 101 or 105 characters. Therefore, it is well within 128. So, almost all characters in English alphabet and some special symbols can be written using ASCII codes. Is it okay? So, what is the ASCII code for A? 41H. What is the ASCII code for small a? 61H. What is the ASCII code for carriage return? 0DH. So, like this, if you see the manual, you can find out the corresponding ASCII code. So, whenever we write any characters or strings using assembler directives, its corresponding ASCII code will be stored in the computer. Next is the value. So, what is the value to data? This is also one important observation. The value of the content of registers or memory location is dependent on the programmer. What is the purpose of using an instruction and what is the purpose of using a particular value in a register, that is very important. For example, if I store FF into AL, AL is just 8-bit register and FF is also 8-bit data, there is no problem. But the same value is having the value 255 in unsigned number as an unsigned number. How it is 55 255? Just to convert to decimal, convert FF to decimal, you will get 255, and same number also represents -1. So, the same number you can take it as a negative number and same number you can take it as a positive number. So, in the what is the context you are using in your program, so therefore it dependent on the programmer, not on the assembler directive or assembler or machine. Similarly, if you write have the value 30H, H is containing 30H. What is the decimal number? 48. 3 into 16, 48 plus 0, 48. If you convert from hexadecimal to decimal, and it represents character 0. How? Just you observe the ASCII code I have written just now, or the ASCII corresponding ASCII value of 30 is 0. So, that means we can use the same 30 value as a 0 or as a 48. If I take 0, it is a character data. If I take 48, it is signed data. Similarly, if you find the 2's complement of 48, 30, you will get a negative number, right. Similarly, can you find out what is the value? BL80H. What is the unsigned value? What is the signed value? And what is the ASCII value? So, how to convert a decimal number to a hexadecimal number to decimal number? 8 into 16 to the power 1, because there is one digit after 8, plus 0. 0 into 16 to the power 0. So, 16 into 8 128 and plus 0. So, this is 128, 128 in decimal. So, it is clearly unsigned number plus 128. Am I clear? What should be the unsigned, signed number? What is the 2's complement of 80H? 80H. Okay. So, it is also minus 128. Okay. So, the same 80H representing plus 28, plus 128 as well as the minus 128. Then how to use defined bytes? Name of the variable, and you have to write it db, and here you have to write an initial value, and whatever the value you write in this place, that will be assigned to the corresponding variable. Example, if I write I is a variable and defined byte is my assembler directive, and if I write 4, what is the meaning of that? I is in the beginning of the program, I is initialized to 4, but remember I is not equal to 4. In the place of I you can use 4. If you want to make I equal to 4, there is another assembler directive, that is called EQ. That is the difference between EQ and a defined byte. Similarly, if you write JDB a question mark is also a value, but that means initially you are not assigning any value to the variable, but whenever you execute the program, J will take some value and that value will be placed here. Why? Because every variable, as I told you, is assigned a memory location and a corresponding memory location is reserved for that variable. If you initialize, that location will contain this value, and if you do not initialize, simply write a question mark, some value will be written during the execution, if at all J is generating a value. It is not the integer. You can also assign a string or set of characters. So, how many characters are here? 6 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 characters. and these 6 characters means 6 ASCII values, and every ASCII value, as I told you, it will take 1 byte. So 6 bytes must be reserved. It is not 1 byte. Am I clear? So 6 bytes will be reserved in the memory in the variable name, and name will refer to a memory location, and that memory location address will be automatically generated by the assembler by using this name offset. So if I write k db 5, 3 minus 1, how many bytes will be occupied? 3 bytes, because I am initializing 5, 3 minus 1. The meaning is that starting from address k, 3 memory locations are reserved. One will store 5, another will store 3, another will store a minus 1. And a k will be, it is just like an array. K is an array of 3 values. So k is an array, but in this case I is a single variable, but here k is a multiple variable, because an array variable, the same name, we can store many values in that array. So similarly, we can define the define word. So these are all the uses of the define byte at the beginning of the program, or which we call the data area. So next is word variables. Word variables means define word. Suppose if I write I dw4, what is the meaning? I is a memory location address which will store 04 in the first location and 00 in the second location. Because I am writing dw, if I write db, then it will only have 04. Since I am writing dw, even though you are mentioning a single digit, it will occupy 2 locations. 2 locations means 2 bytes. Similarly, if I write j dw minus 2, okay. So why minus 2 is storing FE and FF? Because we know that for minus 2, okay, for 2 the data is 0 0 0 all zeros, and lastly we will have 0 1 0 for plus 2. For minus 2 we have to take the 2's complement, and if I find the 2's complement 0 1, all the digits are 1s. So first 16 digits will be FF, sorry, first 8 digits will be FF, then rest 8 digits will have FE, because this is 1 1 1 1 0 FE. Am I clear? So now the data is FE FF, because define word. Similarly, if I write k dw 1a bch, so 1a bch, h I am writing, h for hexadecimal. So clearly it shows that it is an hexadecimal number, and when you store it, k bc 1a, is it okay? Similarly, if I write it L dw 01, L is the starting address and 3130. What is 3130? Because for 01, the ASCII code is 30. Sorry, for 0 the ASCII code is 30, for 1 the ASCII code is 31. So 3130 will be having the value of memory location starting from L. Similarly, double word variables. So define byte we saw, define word, then double word. So how to write double word? I dd, if I write 1 fe 2a b20h, what are the content in memory location? So I 20 ab e2 1f, double word. Double word means 4 bytes. Is it okay? Similarly, can you write what is the content in the memory location jjdd minus 4h? So minus 4. Can you find out this value? How much is the value in the memory location to store minus 4? And we are defining dd, double word.